New CBS News polling shows most Americans are against the U.S. acquiring Greenland by force, and that's regardless of their political affiliation. Take a look at these numbers. 97% of Democrats and 90% of independents say they are opposed to using the U.S. military to take control of the island nation. And as you see there, 70% of Republicans are also against it. Our political panel has thoughts on this. Rina Shah is a geopolitical advisor, strategist, and former senior advisor to Republican House members. And Joel Payne is a CBS News political contributor and chief communications officer for the progressive public policy nonprofit Move On. A warm Monday morning welcome to you both. Rina, let's start with you. Might President Trump's push for Greenland be a miscalculation here, considering the majority of his own base, according to this polling, is against it?
President Trump's team is framing the grab for Greenland as something that other presidents wanted in the past as well. They're saying it's obviously for national security purposes, and it would be silly of them not to look towards the Arctic as, something that makes America more competitive for the future. I say when you're not listening to your own people, you're getting it wrong. The Make America Great Again movement has never made a secret about how they do not want troops outside of our borders. They don't want nation building abroad. They don't want more boots on the ground, so to speak, in foreign countries. And so when you kind of look at what the sentiment is that is growing, whether it's America First or MAGA, and of course there are some fissures right now, you're seeing that there is a frustration with the president. And the president is not really receiving that in a good way. He's actually doubling down and saying that this is a decision that needs to be made, and it's rooted in logic. I think he can continue to make the argument, but the general sense is that we should not be, whether we're talking about invading foreign lands or not, because there is controversy over whether this is considered an invasion or not. But whatever angle you're taking on this, this is not the right timing for this administration. It makes them look weaker and not very forward-thinking in a year where Americans are putting domestic priorities ahead of anything that is outside of our borders.
And especially with midterm elections coming up, we'll see if the president wants to listen to his base. Joel, on your side of the calculation politically, the president is receiving criticism, widespread criticism over his tariff threat on European nations opposing the U.S. takeover of Greenland. How, if at all, might Democrats benefit from this? Is it all about the midterms, or might there be more?
Yeah, Earl, I mean, it seems like taxing Americans through the tariff process to make a point about Greenland is a political loser. I think much in line with what Rina just shared, the American people, particularly the people in his own political movement, didn't ask for this. But more broadly, the American people didn't ask for this. It seems like a real misassessment of priorities from the Trump administration. Don't just take my word for it. Look at the polling that you just cited, but also look at the American people's general disapproval of this president's agenda. It seems like he's prioritizing pet projects and personal beefs over the things the American people actually sent him to Washington to focus on.
I want to jump topics now and discuss what's happening in Minnesota. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem and Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey are blaming each other for the unrest there. Let's just show some of that to our viewers.
Because the mayor and the governor have allowed this kind of violence to be perpetuated across Minneapolis is why there's other innocent people that are impacted throughout the city, but throughout their state as well.
We are doing everything possible to keep the peace, notwithstanding this occupying force that has quite literally invaded our city.
And new CBS News polling shows Americans' views vary depending on how they politically identify. 82% of Republicans say the protesters have gone too far, compared to 10% of Democrats. So, Joel, I'll start with you. Should Democrats in office be doing more to support the demonstrators?
Well, I think that the Democrats in office are seeing that this is something that is not just firing up the base of the Democratic Party. This is firing up people who, frankly, have not been politically engaged before. I mean, you've seen man-on-the-street interviews with people in Minnesota who are not political, who are not partisans, who feel like their community is under attack. And I think the big, broad message that Democrats need to go to the American people with is something very similar to what Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez said recently, which is the Republican majority in Washington, D.C. and Donald Trump cut health care for this. what you're seeing on your screen right now, what you're experiencing, not just in Minneapolis, but what's been in New Orleans, what's been in Los Angeles, in Chicago, and is coming to a city near you, that was paid for by not focusing on the things that you care about, like healthcare. They cut healthcare to pay for this. That's a very impactful message, and I think you're going to hear Democrats using that message a lot more as we get towards November.
Now, Rina, you did mention that Republicans are more interested in domestic and economic issues. A majority of them do believe ICE is making communities more safe. So how should Republicans approach this divisive topic?
Well, we heard the soundbite there from Secretary Kristi Noem, and actually in what she just said, I don't think there's much to disagree with. The tension between federal and state right now is clearly something we all can see. You know, Minnesota lawmakers are not happy with Washington and vice versa. Now, at what point do they sit down and figure out a solution, a way forward? On the one hand, you're seeing things in Minnesota get out of hand. People are blaming, of course, Democrats who are leading. I think that's too reductive and it's too lazy to say it that way. I think this is about pictures of America that perhaps many of us have never seen, that when ICE comes into your community, they are going to be strong and they're going to try to make a point. That's what I see is going on here. But the Republicans who believe that ICE is making their community safer, they believe in law and order, and they believe this is Donald Trump just going along with his campaign promise.
All right, Rina Shah and Joel Payne, great to have you with us this Monday. Thanks for your insight. Appreciate it.